two of the main leaders of the Crips was Tookie, and Raymond Washington was the East Side.
Today we're talking about one of the most influential and controversial figures in Los Angeles street history, Raymond Washington.
Now, Raymond Washington you got to be a triple OG to know who Raymond Washington was.
Most people have heard of the Crips, but very few know the story of the teenager who started it all. Who was Raymond Washington? How did the Crips begin? Did Raymond intend for the organization to become what it eventually became? And who took his life in 1979? Let's take a look at the life, rise, and mysterious death of Raymond Washington. Raymond Lee Washington was born on August 14th, 1953 in South Central LA. As a kid, he became known for being physically tough. Friends, neighbors, and family members described him as someone who loved fighting and was rarely afraid of anyone.
Raymond Washington used to like to fight all. You ever seen somebody just love to fight? He just loved to fight.
Unlike many gang members who came later, Raymond reportedly preferred fistfights over blickies. He was known as an athlete and bodybuilder and spent much of his youth in South Central and Watts. During the 1960s, LA was changing. Older black street gangs had weakened, and many young people were looking for identity, protection, and neighborhood pride. Some youth looked up to organizations like the Black Panthers, who projected strength and community empowerment. Raymond admired that image of organization and discipline, although what he created would take a very different path.
All we did back then, and it wasn't a lot of killing at that time. It was a lot of waistline coats taking.
A lot of coats taking.
So we took, gangs at that time didn't want to kill you. They just wanted to take your coat.
Or your hat.
Or your hat.
If you had an ace deuce, if you wouldn't with the right enough fellas, you wasn't gonna wear that thing home.
By the late 1960s, Raymond Washington was still a teenager. After spending time around a local gang known as the Avenues, he began organizing younger kids from his neighborhood. These groups were first called the Baby Avenues and later became known as the Avenue Cribs.
Raymond Washington hung around with the Avenues, not just Craig Munson's brother Robert, but he hung around with the Avenues, period. His father lived right there in the Avenue neighborhood, and he would visit every summer with his father. But he was rejected by Munson. Different stories about the rejection, but he was rejected. So we call Raymond a wannabe. A wannabe is somebody who wants to be part of that group, but he don't live in that area or what have you. And that was Raymond's situation. Incident happens with Craig Munson and Raymond. And Munson ended up slapping Raymond, which is not a big deal. It wasn't uncommon for an older guy, 19, 20, to chastise a youngster. Once they tell us to do something, we don't do it, they'll slap us upside the head. That wasn't something that wasn't uncommon. Mm-hmm. So when we hear about Munson slapping Raymond, we hear about, he was much bigger. Hey, that's just the way it was in those days. So he slapped Raymond. Raymond became angry and said he's going to start his own gang. And he did. He did. That 15-year-old friend of mine started a gang called the Crips. That's what led to the Crips.
Eventually, the name was changed to Crips. The exact origin of the word Crips remains debated, but the name stuck.
The word blood, as far as I knew, the word blood was a universal word for black people. It meant you was black like me, you know, what's happening, blood? I mean, they used it in music. The funk guys, they was using it in their music. What's happening, blood? And, you know, this and that in their music. Now, as far as Crip go, cuz I can't explain. You know, if it was Crip first, because there's a myth to it. And we don't have Raymond here to explain it. You know, I heard myths it was Crip, CRlPS first, and then I heard it went to Crip. You know, I heard Big Bro Raymond had a relative or something that was crippled or something. I'm not sure of it, or had a good friend that was. I heard rumors that somebody's brother was jumped on by the Brims or something, or some gang, and they crippled him. They put him on crutches. Crip say, no, we gonna change the Crip, because from here on out, we gonna cripple the motherfucker when we beat their ass. That's what I heard. But I don't know, cuz, the truth to that. You know what I mean? I'm just telling y'all what I heard growing up as a little kid and all that. I had heard other people use Crip, CRlPS. This Crip, nigga, and I heard that. My daddy called us that. Boy, you Crips, y'all something else. You know, that's what my daddy used to say. He called us that. I don't know why, but he did. You know, but AC Baba Louie said no, there wasn't no crib. But he said people had baby cribs tattooed on them. You know, like the crib, because it was supposed to be the concept from the cradle to the grave, supposedly.
Raymond's strategy was simple. He wanted to unite neighborhoods under one banner. Instead of dozens of small groups fighting each other, he envisioned a larger organization with influence across South LA.
The Crips and the Black Panthers have nothing in common. The Avenues was known, the gang that Raymond wanted to be part of. They were known for terrorizing and robbing people, their jackets, their shoes, any hats, suede jackets, watches, rings, whatever they wanted. And that's what Raymond got that from, and that's what he introduced to his gang, the Crips. That's where it all came from. It came from the Avenues, and Raymond picked up on it. And that's where it came from. That's what led to chaos in the whole cotton-picking city of LA.
In 1971, Raymond teamed up with another influential young street figure, Tookie Williams. Washington had influence on the east side, while Williams had influence on the west side. Together, they created an alliance that became the foundation of the Crips.
See, Tookie had a reputation of not just killing, which he did do, but he could knock people out. He had 24-inch arms that he could knock people out.
Right.
And even guys would take advantage. If Tookie hit you and you didn't fall down and get knocked out, you was a bad guy. Before
I saw this dude, I seen Tookie several times as I got older, and it was all kind of rumors about Tookie. Guy shot him with a 22 in the chest. He pulled the bullets out, beat the nigga's ass. I mean, these guys became street legends.
Yeah. Weights was the thing. You know. Tookie and them, we used to walk around weights around their neck.
Weights
from gyms.
Okay.
Walk around with 50, 100 pounds. Around.
I ain't never heard that before.
Yeah, they did. So see, it became a whole different culture.
To understand Raymond Washington's influence, you have to understand that he was only a teenager. Yet within a few years, hundreds and eventually thousands of young people identified with the organization that he helped create.
And the Crips was the OGs. I would say they was in the range from about 15 to 18 years old up in there.
Damn, those are OGs.
Those were the OGs. And I was a baby Crip at that time. I was 13. So you had guys like 14, 13, 12. Maybe you might have found some, if maybe 11 back in those days.
Many early members described Raymond as charismatic, fearless, and highly respected. He often challenged rival gang leaders to fights and used his reputation to convince entire groups to join the Crips.
When it first started, I was right there. I lived on 103rd Street in Clovis, the big house. It was called the big house right there, 2-story house right there. Back in that day, you would find hundreds of Crips out anywhere up and down 103rd right there, because that's where we would meet. We'd meet down on McKinley, down there. That's where our leader stayed, Mac Thomas. Every time I speak, I have to give Mac Thomas, his credit where it's due, along with Raymond, along with Tookie, along with Jamel, along with Lil James. If you get those guys together, you could get up to 3,000 Crips together or more. And that's what it took.
As the Crips expanded through South Los Angeles, Compton, Watts, and all the surrounding areas, smaller gangs were pressured to either join the Crips or go up against them. Those who opposed them eventually formed alliances of their own. That resistance would become known as the Bloods.
And back then it was about street fight. It wasn't about the gunplay in the beginning. Although, you might see a gun here, a shotgun, a 22, maybe a 38, and even guys made their own gun called the zip gun. Few zip guns in a few neighborhoods.
Yeah, explain the zip gun real quick.
A zip gun is a homemade gun. That would be where you go to hardware and you find a pipe to fit a bullet, or maybe even a shotgun shell. They mostly were made like from a 12 gauge or a 410, something like that. You find the barrel and you cut it and you put it in there and you put a nail on it and you hit it with a hammer and you pop it. It would shoot. Raymond Washington threw dogs. He could fight. Mac Thomas could fight. We had some dudes. I mean, if it wasn't for gangs and they would have been in the boxing, we'd have had some local world champions out there, because these dudes could fist fight.
Damn.
I've seen it. I was there as a young man, as a teenager. Then they had the record hop at Will Rogers Park, which is Ted Watkins. Ted Watkins now, down on 103rd and Central in L.A. The gym, that's where they had the record hop.
Okay.
In Watts, and you would get the pig meats, and the pig meats, which is down in the Jordan Downs now, they're Crip now. They wasn't Crips then, but due to the growth and the escalation of the Crips, it was just a growing thing.
What started as a neighborhood organization soon became the largest black street gang alliance in Los Angeles history. The influence of Raymond Washington spread throughout California and eventually across the United States.
We had a meeting at Ted Watkins. Will Rogers Park, Ted Watkins, and you had Raymond, Mac Thomas, and you had Jamel, Lil James, and I'll tell you, it was about 3,000 Crips at that meeting at that park. And then at the end of that meeting, all the big Crips marched at the end from that park to the liquor store on 108th and Avalon. And all the baby Crips, we was on bicycles now. That meeting had so many Crips. When the line was in at the liquor store on 108th and Avalon, you still had Crips in formation from the park, marching in column of twos. So, back then, we had rank, and we had respect for the OGs and the leaders and the shot callers.
By the mid-1970s, the Crips had grown so large that Raymond Washington was no longer able to control what was happening. The organization began splintering into independent sets. Violence increased. Blickies became more common. Many historians and former members have said Raymond became disappointed with the direction things were heading in. He reportedly disliked the increasing use of blickies and the growing level of violence. Some accounts suggest he began distancing himself from gang politics altogether. On August 9th, 1979, Raymond was standing near 64th Street and San Pedro Street in South LA. A car pulls up. According to accounts, Raymond approached the vehicle and spoke with the occupants. Witnesses later said this was unusual because Raymond generally did not walk up to strangers' cars. During the conversation, someone inside the vehicle reportedly produced a sawed-off shotgun and fired. Raymond was struck in the abdomen and rushed to the hospital where he died during emergency surgery. He was only 25 years old, just 5 days short of his 26th birthday. No one was ever arrested, no one was ever convicted, and it remains unsolved to this day.
I sure wish we had Raymond, man. I sure wish we had Raymond, man. Cause Raymond, he could tell us all the truth, the exact truth, because it came out his mind, his head. It came from Cuz's head. Now, and I'm not saying he made it happen all alone. I'm sure he has some partners he sat down with and said, man, what y'all think? Ooh. But it came from Cuz, man. But it came from him, Cuz. You understand? And that's the one fact, Cuz, we got to go on. That the first Crip, Cuz, the reason why it's Crips, Cuz, is Raymond Lee Washington. Raymond Lee Washington, truck. And I was told that they said he hit a nigga hard as a truck. That's why they called him that. See, he hit like a truck. Boom, put a motherfucker on his ass. See, Cuz wasn't really about them guns. Let's get down, nigga. Let's go.
Raymond Washington died in 1979, but it's crazy how nearly half a century later, his name is still discussed in neighborhoods, documentaries, books, and podcasts all over the world. The mystery of who took his life remains unsolved. The impact of what he started remains impossible to ignore. Thank you for tuning in to Dusty Vision TV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now. I often think of Raymond Washington. I remember all the good times we had as children at Roosevelt Park. I remember our water fights we had. The circumstance surrounding his death has always been a mystery. The list of suspects is long. Raymond really did dog out many people. Some paint him as some kind of revolutionary looking to protect his community. They say that he started the Crips to restore some order to the community. The truth was that he was rejected by a gang he wanted to be in. He was a wannabe. At heart, he was a gangster and a gladiator, and that was what led him to start what he started and became who he was. He was a gangster and a gladiator. A bully is someone who seeks to intimidate and takes advantage of someone else they find to be vulnerable. The Crips fit that description. It was common for a group of them to go up to a non-affiliated person and yell "Crip" in their face to scare them. That is a bully. A group of Crips will walk up to an individual and demand their jewelry, hats, or coats are a bunch of bullies. Having said all that, I would like to make something clear. I know some people who knew Raymond Washington said that he was no bully. I beg to differ. Raymond grew up on the East Side, and he was kicked out of school for bullying. I knew Raymond since we were children, and I saw how he was growing up. I know there are those that may have become friends with Raymond after the formation of the West Side Crips. The formation of the West Side Crips came 2 years after the original Crips started. Those from the West Side may have not saw that side of Raymond. I know of many occasions where Raymond bullied someone for leather coats. He either intimidated them or beat them up to get what he wanted. Raymond was the founder of the Crips on the East Side, and that was how they modeled their gang, by bullying. It was no coincidence that Raymond just happened to behave in the same way. All the Crips were bullies, East Side, West Side, and the Compton Crips. I'm not here to smear Raymond's name. He was my friend, and I grew up with him. But I think it should be known for the sake of history how he really was. There was a sister that lived around the corner from Raymond's mom, and she once said, "I'm sorry, Miss Washington, but Raymond was a bully. He was bad." Some say that I was a bully too. And I was. I too was a bully. I am in no way saying that Raymond did not have his good qualities, but I feel the need to let the facts be known. There was a time when Raymond Washington contacted Bobby to have a sit down to talk some things out. Raymond was aware that there were certain people and things that could cause problems between us friends. We were friends with Raymond, and we were also friends with his enemies, such as the bounty hunters. Bobby agreed to the meeting. We made the announcement about the meeting, and Space Ghost was quick to challenge Bobby over the meeting. Space Ghost had a beef with Robert Munson and Raymond because he was jumped by them a few years ago. Ghost never let that go, and he still wanted revenge. Dino defended Ghost. I wasn't the back and forth type, and I told him that Bobby had set up the meeting at our house and it was going to happen regardless. I said Raymond will have full protection from us, and I will shoot anyone that tries to harm him at the meeting. I was dead serious. I know Raymond would have done the same for us. During the meeting, my mom handed out bowls of chili that she made. We all ate and then got down to business. We made it clear to Raymond that we were not with all that Crip aggression, and we were especially against them victimizing the innocent. Bobby made a point and said that all of these businesses in our hood are foreign owned and they should pay us to stay open in our hoods. Raymond liked that idea. The meeting moved on to the subject of Raymond's beef with the bounty hunters. No one interrupted him when he spoke on the topic. Raymond made us an offer. He said that we can all become Bishop Crips and unite if we can assist him with killing Junior Thomas, who was the leader of the bounty hunters at the time. He said that in return, he will give up the two guys that killed our good friend Skip. At this point, we didn't really know who it was. I said that we were not touching Junior Thomas because he is our friend. Bobby asked Raymond a few times if he knew who killed Skip. Raymond finally answered, but he hesitated, and he said that he knew who it was. Bobby simply said, "Let's go." And just like that, the meeting of opportunity was over and nothing was accomplished. Both sides walked away just the same way they came in, with nothing gained. We would be fortunate a short time later because Skip's killer was actually brought to trial. I don't know what led up to it, but the killer's cousin, Brawley, decided to turn state's evidence against his cousin, Wilbur. That was crazy because they knew these two guys. We went to school with them. We actually attended the trial, and Brawley was on that witness stand, and he told all. He told all that happened that night and what led up to it. The trial actually started with this girl named Rowdy, and she thought everything was funny. There were about 5 occupants in the car, and they pulled up on Skip and asked him where the party was. Skip pointed in the direction, and the car drove off in that direction. For whatever reason, they could not find the house where the party was. What is even worse was one of them even lived in the neighborhood and still couldn't find it. I mean, how could they miss it? They lived just down the street. So they all turned the car around and found Skip again. Rowdy called Skip a liar, and he responded with, "Bitch, please." When she said that in court, I knew she had at least talked with Skip before he was shot, because that was Skip's favorite phrase. He would always say, "Bitch, please." Then Wilbur said, "Did you call my woman a bitch?" So Wilbur jumped out of the car and fought a drunken Skip, and Skip whooped his ass. Then this guy named Larry got out of the car, and it was the same result. Wilbert tried to run back on Skip, and Skip knocked him down. Wilbert pulled out a .22 and shot Skip in the throat. It was a punk-ass cowardly move. When Brawley took the stand, he was crying the whole time. He knew he lost a friend, his cousin, and all of us. We all knew these guys, and we were friends. He knew he couldn't be friends with us anymore. We were sitting in that courtroom looking at him like we wanted to kill him. And that was because we did want to kill him. After the trial, we patiently watched the house where Brawley lived because we wanted to get him. We watched the house for several days. I don't know how he escaped us, but he did. They even kicked in the door and ransacked the house. After a week or so, Bobby ordered the house to be burned down, and so the house was burned down. If we had caught them, we would have killed them. I look back in it and I realized that Brawley and his sister didn't have the power to stop it. They weren't fighters. I can now understand what they went through. They really lost everything over it. If I were to see Brawley now, I would tell him that I no longer hold it against him. I can't speak for others, but I no longer hold them responsible. The guys that killed Skip were Crips. When we left the courtroom, we were 15 cars deep. Bobby was convinced that Raymond Washington knew all along who did it. We would then engage deeper into war. It was still 1973 and it was chaos. The conflict was on a level like no other. This is about the time when the shooting started. Weatherby's Sporting Goods was making a fortune off the sale of ammunition. The shootings were daily and they were either at night or in broad daylight. A lot of our new recruits were already motivated to go to war because they had been wronged by the Crips in some way and wanted revenge. The target on Bishop leadership grew larger and larger. Even law enforcement had it out for Bishop's leaders. Things were crazy at this time. My 1960 Chevy had been shot up 3 times, and I will say they don't make cars like they used to. That car was still running after the 3rd shooting. I was cruising that Chevy with all kind of bullet holes. The car looked like it was in a shootout with John Dillinger. People would call my phone making threats and my mom would get upset. The police were knocking at our door early in the mornings. My parents went through hell. The neighbors we vowed to protect ended up turning on us. They started calling us Bad Bobby and Bad Jimmy. I didn't care because the vision of Skip dying was my motivation, and that's what kept me fighting. If anyone had ever had to watch their best friend die because of someone else, they might understand. I had to watch Bobby's back, and he would watch mine. This all started because of that punk-ass Wilbert from 5 Trey Crips. For 3 years, we managed to stay out of it all. Wilbert killed Skip. I should have called Wilbert the father of the Bishops because if it weren't for him, none of this would have started. It all started because that dummy couldn't follow Skip's directions to the party. He laughed about his murder. I'm going to say it, because of Wilbert, we formed Bishops. I'm being a little selfish when I express my hurt towards losing Skip. The truth is, a lot of people were hurt over his death. It wasn't just me. I took it really hard, and so did a lot of others. I would always play one of his favorite songs, The Big Payback by James Brown. I would cry as the record turned. When the song ended, the only sounds in the room were the static and the pops from the end of the record still spinning and me trying to hold in my sobs. Because of that, we were beating up guys, stomping the shit out of them in the name of Bishops. It got so bad, I couldn't even walk around with my girlfriend. I could take her to the drive-in because we could drive, but I always had my pistol on my lap, just in case. Pretty popular movie came out called Colors. 88, I do believe it was. So you're probably in high school around this time. Take me back to what you remember about the movie Colors coming out.
I just remember that it was a big hoopla about it, because at that point in time, the Crips and Bloods was extremely prevalent in LA. And I remember, it being kind of a big panic in some cities where they was trying to decide whether they was going to air it or not, and well, for the most part out there in Bannon where we was at, we didn't have no problems. I remember going to the movie theater and checking it out and stuff. And so, but like I say, I just remember it seemed like it was more of a problem nationwide than it was in Bannon.
What were your first thoughts when you started hearing groups like Ice-T, NWA, King T, DJ Quick, holler their sets on record, and this thing called gangster rap came out?
Oh, it was, I loved it, and I'll never forget the first time that I heard NWA. It was a dude by the name of Donald B. He had the tape, and he was from LA. He was from the Family Swan area. And he let me listen to it. And so yeah, it was just extremely, it hyped me up just to hear these dudes, talking this, this raw music. And actually to Ice-T, he was always one of my favorites too, 6 in the Morning, and he had a few other songs that was extremely nice.
When would you say you were most active in the street? What ages?
I would probably say maybe beginning probably like around maybe 1988, 1989, 1990 up until 94, until I was arrested and went to prison.
Okay, so 88, 89, LA, once again, that was probably when it was at its worst. 91, 92, 93 was really crazy in LA. Like we were having like 2,000 homicides a year. It was like crazy numbers. When to the best of your remembrance was Banning just out of control, the most active?
Well, I would say pretty much probably all those years it was relatively bad. But if my memory serves me correct, I believe 93, 94, I believe Bannon led Riverside County in murders per capita. And so it was extremely bad that year. Like I say, Bannon's a small, one high school, one McDonald's town. And I think it was close to like 19, 20 murders, something that year, if I'm not mistaken. It was somewhere around there. So that's the year that I would probably say it was, it was definitely one of his worst years, if not the worst.
And I know a lot of you cats out there hear 19, 20 murders. It doesn't sound like a lot, but keep in mind, Banning is a very small town. So 20 murders in a very small town per capita, percentage-wise, is probably more than what Chicago was experiencing, or LA, or like a lot of other places around the country. Let's fast forward to 1994, a year that changed your life. You ended up spending 24 years in prison.
By 94, I'm full-fledged into the streets. Gang member. I'm also at that point in time, I was living in the state of Billings, Montana. I was out there selling, large quantities of drugs, and I came back to California to purchase some more drugs. And there was an altercation at a house party, and there were some people shot. And so I was being wanted for that shooting. And so I ended up going on the run, and I was eventually captured in that was 1993. I was eventually captured in 1994, and when I was captured, I was also charged with another murder that occurred while I was on the run, and so those are the circumstances that sent me to prison.
What's it like for an active gang member to enter prison?
Well, when you get in there, you're gonna get some people that's gonna, like, for me. When I got in there, my first time in there, I was young. So they sent me to a medium camp, and it was like college. I'm like, this shit is nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is, I had 12 months to do, did that, got out. You do 8 months off of each year. So when I did that, I got back out. It was, I'm like, that ain't shit. Called another case, went back to another medium. Shit didn't get hard until motherfucker got to the max joints, and then still it wasn't like that hard until I got out of town, because we was banging in the joints. We was banging in the joints down here, so they took 20 of us and split us all up. I ended up getting shot down to Kansas. When I got down there, I seen a whole nother way of a prison lifestyle. I seen a whole nother way. Like, we're not even really bidding in jail up here. Our jails, like, it's real simple. I'm talking about, you get paid real good. The jails is clean. You get good food. As far as jail shit, man, you get down to Kansas, man, that shit is hard times, man. You got to really know how to hustle down there in them joints. I was in Hutch. and I was in Lansing, and I was in El Dorado, right next to the B2K killer. You know, that was my next door neighbor. And it, down there, they're not faking, man. That Crip and Blood shit is for real. And I'm gonna tell you, the Serranios and the Norteños, boy, they go the hardest to me because they're not letting nobody. They're not letting nobody from the like if it's a Norteño, he's not letting no Serrano touch their compound, and vice versa. So I'll be like, yeah, they not faking. We'll sit here and let a Blood or a Crip walk past us, and we won't even think nothing about it. They ain't playing. I'm like, and they work out like a well-oiled machine. I seen that shit. I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. Like down here in LA, they say they be funking with the Mexicans and shit. Like up here, I didn't really never. Like we don't really be around the Mexicans like that, you know. We got a lot of Somalians up here. We got a whole bunch of Somalians, and they come from like California. The Somalians I know, they come from San Diego, and they all Crips. They do everything we do. I'm telling you.
Damn.
So, each person they got the keys to a car. You got one person that might have the keys to the car. You know what I'm saying? And he's gonna like call shots or probably because down there they're making it work out. You got to work out and you got to stay on point, and you just got to be on your P's and Q's because the shit is so dangerous down there. You can lose your life and shit. So when we working out, we got to make sure we looking to see where our homies is. Like after every set, we looking up to count where our homies at on the yard because all the phones is out on the yard. So, and at any time somebody can go out there and get hurt. You know, so it's real out there, man. It's real. Here it ain't really, the jails here ain't really that hard, if you ask me. You know, so when I came back and told the homies about down there and about how the jail is down there, they didn't believe me. I'm like, man, look, we got it easy up here. I ain't gonna lie. We got it real easy in Minnesota in the prison. Our streets is dangerous, but the prisons is easy. Ain't nobody dying really. Ain't nobody getting stabbed. Ain't nobody getting hit in the head with lock. Ain't nothing. There's just a lot of going to cell and fight. You get down there in them other joints down there in Kansas or anywhere else, man, get fucked off. Like you can't even. Like I couldn't even take a shower without. I had to take showers with my boots on in Kansas. You know, damn. I had to get in there with a 2-minute shower, 1-minute shower, and get the fuck up out of there because it's so dangerous. You can get killed back there. Ain't no cameras, ain't no guards back there. It's hard. It was fucked up. I ain't gonna lie.
Tell us about the clothing, man.
Oh yeah, for the clothing line, for Avenues Originals, you know what I'm saying, working with the homies, you know what I'm saying, we had to come up with something new, so I had to turn my fraction, you know what I'm saying, from my hood into a philosophy. So now, you know what I'm saying, whatever avenue in life that you chose to follow, that's part of what makes you original and sets you apart from the next person, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? So whether you're the person that works at the bank, whether you're the person picking up money from the bank, or down to the person that's about to rob it, regardless, it makes us all original. It's the avenue in life we chose to follow. That's the philosophy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. How's LA treating you, man? I know it's what, your 7th time here, but you know, how's it treating you so far?
I mean, look, man, out of all my trips, every time I come out here, man, it's like, I learn new shit every time I'm out here. Like, bro, y'all weed dispensaries, man, that shit's low-key, man.
That's the shit, ain't it?
Oh. Bro, like, I be looking for, like, where the tree at? You know what I'm saying? I gotta call the homies up or something, man. And then they be hipping me. They was like, hey, look at that green cross in the corner.
I mean, those are the ones you want to go to, because some of the other ones are like furniture stores, man.
What's the trees like?
Very corporate.
You said, what are the trees like in D.C.?
What's the trees like? The tree? Okay.
Trees are pretty good all around, I would think, nowadays, right?
It's only good if it got that Cali touch.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Let people know this.
If you ain't, you ain't tapped in with the Cali, man, you ain't gonna have a good experience, man.
The best weed in the world, probably.
And this is what I've heard people say, that if you come across any bomb weed in any other state, they probably got it from Cali.
Yeah.
It's like,
I thought it was Arizona.
Well, Colorado.
It could be anywhere.
Arizona had the good stress back in the day. Arizona had the great stress. You guys remember the Arizona would come in, it was like, hey, $75 an ounce. You better cop this shit. That shit was gone in like 2 days. It was the Arizona stress, like the Nintendo or Pretendo.
Had no C's, really.
Yeah, that was around the chronic days.
Man, that's when I was.
Well, welcome to the show, man. I'm glad to have you here. Welcome to the setup, man. Part of the family. Much love, dog. Super Audio Network, baby.
Hey, yo, thank you for having me, y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here with my dude, Avenue Trey. What up, man?
What's going on, man?
introduce your homies.
Shit, man.
Yo.
Got my man T.Y. Young Fly.
You know what I mean?
And I got my man T.B.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Out here in L.A., man. How's L.A. treating you?
Shit, man. Love, man. Nothing but love, man. This is like a second home to me. You know what I'm saying? I love it, man.
Yeah. What you got planned while you're out here?
Shit, man. Just kicking it with my peoples, man.
Yeah.
Gotta tap in, you know what I'm saying? Just unity, you know what I'm saying? Culture, you know what I'm saying? Around some good vibes, family, you know, everything.
Remind everybody where you're from, city-wise and set-wise.
Okay, city-wise, from Nation's Cap, from D.C., right off of, you know what I'm saying, Northeast, Benning Road. And set, I'm from West Side, original Harlem Avenue Crib, you know what I'm saying? And, DG's in the house, DNA.
Yeah, you've heard about probably 6 or 7 interviews that I've done with this dude, man. I've always fucked with his vibe, loved his vibe and everything. And this is the first time we've got to meet in person, man. I'm glad to finally meet you, dude.
I appreciate it. Likewise, brother. Likewise.
Yeah, can we give some love to my man right here? Tell everybody.
Oh, yeah, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy TFC, TY Fly Camp, and the place to be, man. Check out all my music on all streaming platforms on the TY Fly Camp, you feel what I'm saying? And if you're out here in LA, you can always find me on Elite by Tasties on Tuesdays, all throughout the week. We there. Elite by Tasties, 106 and Western, pull up, Artist Lounge, show love, we love a show. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my dude Trey Avenue, TB, you know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you know. The whole
Are you from
network.
Los Angeles?
I'm originally from LA. You know what I'm saying? I was raised in the South though, you feel what I'm saying? Raised in like Houston.
I hear a draw, yeah, I hear a Southern draw, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So shout out to H-Town, DeRidder, Louisiana. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm a Cali baby though. Yeah, most definitely.
For sure. Yeah. Tell us about yourself, my man.
Yeah, man, TV, man, out the 30s, man. Trying to get it in with my boys, support my niggas. This my cousin right here, TY Fly.
Yes, sir.
Just making sure when he touched down, everything is straight, everything is good. The blue carpet is rolled out for him out here in LA. He's always good over here. Welcome over here. Just trying to get this music shit together. Got some new music from Fast Money Records, my record label company. So we just trying to get it together, man. Just out here showing support as well.
Yeah.
Avenue Trey, tell us a little bit about yourself. We've had you on my show, but we haven't talked about your beginnings in a long time. Tell everybody about yourself, how you came up, and all that.
Yeah, man. Came pretty much from regular standard neighborhood. It's probably low income. I came from a drug infested home. You know what I'm saying? My pops was really hooked on that heroin. You know what I mean? And took it out on my mom's every day. So. God rest his soul, I forgive him, you know what I'm saying, so I can move forward with my life, but from 1989 to 1998, it was pretty much like that, as far as home-wise, and as far as like coming up, a lot of the locals that I, had the time, appreciating since I missed that void for having like, brothers, they off doing their other thing, but my, my locals, that bond is a little bit different, So I had that sense of camaraderie. I got good people around me, as you can see, you know what I'm saying? I got, wisdom that I'm soaking up like a sponge, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to get laced. I ain't here to, win a race, cuz,
Yeah. Well, tell everybody about your clothing line.
Oh yeah, man. We turned the strand of the DNA from a fraction to a philosophy. So whether you're the guy that works at the bank, whether you're the guy that picks up money from the bank, or even down to the guy that's ready to rob the bank, one thing about it, for sure, is what makes you original is the avenue in life you chose to follow.
That's it. Any last words, fellas?
Man, I, support my dude, Avenue Trey, you feel what I'm saying? Like I said, we out here in LA. I'm TY Fly Camp, cousin TB, you feel what I'm saying? Like I said, check out all my music, all streaming platforms. We do have an emerging artist tour beginning on August 5th. We'll be in Seattle, Washington. So Seattle, watch out, here we come. Like I said, tap in, man.
Yeah. Show y'all following, man. Yeah. Follow both of these men right here, man. All couple, you know what I'm saying? They winning, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
And Trey, you always do those great Dusty Vision drops. You want to drop one for me, dog?
Shit, man. Hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, and subscribe right now to DustyVisionTV.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have from Washington, D.C., Phantom Loke. What up, dude?
Hey, what's going on? Long time.
Yeah, it has been, man. How's everything going with you, dude?
Everything's been going good, actually. Everything's been going real good.
Good, man. Good. You sound like you're in positive spirits and everything. Definitely looking forward to catching up with you and talking about some of the craziness that's been going on in the world, man. Let's start with the first thing, man. I have a few bullet points here, and we'll just kind of go off that. But the first thing I would love your opinion on, being that you're from D.C., Ant Glizzy has been going viral recently for for his portrayal of Crips. He's turned it into some sort of character or something like that. And we've talked about Ant Glizzy. We talked about him a couple years ago when you were on the show, and he went online saying there are no real Crips and Bloods in DC and things like that. But when you see Ant Glizzy's recent antics, what are your thoughts, especially coming from DC?
I'm not going to cut no cards. I'm just going to get straight to the point and be brutally honest. At first, I was pissed because, me and other Crips from the area, we take this shit real serious. And to see someone trolling like that over something that you actually have people that are behind the walls that are never coming out. And then you have some that are 6 feet deep. And for someone to make fun of this culture, this thing of ours, it's a huge insult, a huge slap in the face. But as more I see this dude, portraying, first of all, he ain't no damn Crip. You just want to get that out the way. He ain't no damn Crip. Everybody knows he's not no damn Crip. Especially in my eyes. But the more I see this, he's just crying, begging for attention and all that. And what do you do with a person like that? You just let them cry, cry for that damn attention and shit, I ain't gonna waste no energy on some bozo like that or some shit like that, let him get his little antics on and all that. But I will say this though, when this first started happening, I remember there were a lot of people that were making fun of Crips from the DMV. And I'm saying to myself, it's going to be real funny when them true ones roll up on them and address the issue, and then their whole reaction is just going to change. They say, oh, there's no Crips in DC and this, that, and the third, and it's just a joke, this, that, third. Okay, wait until them true ones come up on you. You won't be saying that shit then. And Glidden's going to get a whole lot of people in trouble making fun of this thing of ours. And that's basically what I'm just going to leave it at that. And Glizzy, all he is just a troll for real. And that's just what trolls do. But one thing I don't like is he trolling about something that we take really seriously to the heart, and that a lot of people have lost their lives either from death or just lost their life staying behind the wall for the rest of their life, never to come out. That's what, gets to me.
Yeah. Do you know where Ant Glizzy is from geographically in the DC area?
Hell nah. I don't know where that fool from. He might be from under a rock for real.
Yeah, I feel like I was one of the definitely not the first, but one of the first to put a spotlight on DC. I mean, me, you, Avenue Trey, we've been going back 3 years, at least during the pandemic, 4 years before the pandemic, actually. Now that I think about it, I remember Googling back then, Washington, D.C., gangs, Crips. Listen, there was not much information. Now it's all over the place, 4 years later. But, back then I was definitely putting a major spotlight on it. But I want to kind of go back and I want to give us a geographical landscape of the DMV area. Not just DC, but outside of DC and mainly where our Crips and Bloods pretty much all over the DMV area now. Is it safe to say?
I will say this: it's definitely a common sight to see them now than it was, say, 2-3 decades ago. Because back in the day, you would have to read the body language of an individual to know that they are something, they are someone, you know, specific body language, you know, like a specific sense. But now you see people flagged up, you know, wearing certain colors, throwing certain signs and all that, and you just know. And those who don't know, well, I mean, might as well do their homework on all that shit, because they might see someone wearing say a TC hat, and they might see someone wearing a Seattle Mariners hat, and they like, oh, that's your favorite baseball team? No, it ain't for no damn baseball team. It's some shit that you would not know about. But those that do know, they do know. And those that they don't, better do your research, because from why, you know, I've been watching a lot of videos, and they say basically gangs is the new America for real, for real. New America is basically going to be made up of gangs for real. I mean, if you look back, gangs been existed since the 1800s. It's always been here. It's just a slice of society. It is what it is.
Yeah, man.
But to answer your question about the landscape of the DMV, in DC now, you would definitely run into, you know what I'm saying, Crips and Bloods. But before, it was like out Maryland and Virginia. Well, mostly in Virginia, but you had some in Maryland. But Maryland, DC being so close to each other, niggas was really keeping it to themselves. You know, they were like, it was like an underground thing, the way they were carrying it and all that. You know, it's like when it's time to let people know, then they let them know that they ain't flashing it, or, you know, this, that, and third. Now, there'll be some nights or some moments they would, but it would be like for certain events or whatever's going on. But other than that, they keep it to themselves. Now, you'll definitely see it out in the open, like you would in LA, like say back in the 90s and early 2000s type stuff.
Let me give you an update of the last episode of Walking It Down. The cellie that they tried to put with you attacked a nurse. The cops beat the brakes off of them. They put you on C status, which is program failure. You got back to writing a novel. Your family sent you a typewriter, ribbons, correction tape. You just started typing. That was the beginning of the Broken Wings novel. You had level 4 points, which was changed to level 3. They asked if you wanted to go to Centinela. You said yes, run it. Within 60 days, you were in Centinela. The ride to Centinela was the longest bus ride of your life, 20 plus hours, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You got to Centinela. It's like you were paroled. Freedom of movement. You got to eat in the chow hall. You integrated into a new Muslim community. It was a great relief. You ran into Chase, your sister's godfather. I believe that was what you said. You started typing, working on your book, listening to your Walkman. You eventually had 600 pages of your book. The most important advice you got was from Baba from Long Beach. He said the title and cover art are all wrong. Y'all argued about it, but you changed the title and artwork because of him. Great advice, because it made you look better with the parole board. Next up, you transferred to Ironwood. You hated the desert weather, so you were happy to be out of there. Ironwood is also desert prison. It wasn't a good fit for you. Super hot, not a lot of programs. 10 years into a life sentence with 10 to 15 left. And that's where we left off.
So I leave Ironwood and pull up at Donovan, R.J. Donovan, down in San Diego, just a few miles from the Mexico border. Boy. I hadn't been off the bus at Donovan for more than a few hours, right? By the time I went to chow that day at, 5 o'clock or whatever, I had met another Muslim at the table I was sitting at, who was capable of providing me with my first cell phone. I had been playing with cell phones, other people's phones, borrowing them, this and that, right? But this time around, I had saved up a few dollars, anticipating getting to Donovan, where the price was so cheap. I heard $300-400, right? That I was prepared to get a cell phone. So I'm sitting at the table with this brother, and I'm like, we filling each other out real quick, and I tell him, yo, I got some green dots. He was like, run it. slid it across the table. He said, it'll be on your cell tonight. Coming to you. Right? Send you the charger in the morning. Presto, alakazam. I'm on. Woo! Convict's dream. Right? But the real reason behind getting the phone was not that I wanted to play around on social media and do all of these different kind of things and plenty of fish and looking for women and all of that. I was ready to make a business move and start publishing books on my own after getting so many rejection slips from companies, right? Established companies on the East Coast and whatnot that was looking for more of those kingpin, cartel, Terry Wood type stories. And I'm telling the West Coast, straight from the projects, kid trying to change his life, going through some gangbanging trials and tribulations that they just couldn't understand, right? So got on, did some research. It took me about a year to figure it out, a little less than a year, and with some help from a friend of mine, China, who was also an independent publisher, who taught me the game, and I'm always love you for that, homegirl, that taught me the game from beginning to end about how to publish. It was go time. I've never looked back as an entrepreneur in prison, and I thank her. I got to give her props for that, right? So I said, it'd be dope if I had a soundtrack to the book, you know, because music is my first love, right? What did I do? Built a studio in the cell. Did a little research, figured out how to make my little soundproof booth, how to play with some recording apps, some engineering apps, and before you know it, I was recording. After about 6 months of buying beats online and snatching beats down from YouTube and whatnot, I had found my groove. You know, I had got into my flow, and I was back. And I recorded the Broken Wing soundtrack to go with the book. This was around the time where I met a cat from Sacramento, Lavish D. You know, and we started building, started lacing me about a few things about the business end of things and some moves that I can make. And I thank him for that, you know. And we even recorded a couple songs together. And I just went from there. Got in contact with some of my old peers on the street, engineer on the street that I used to work with, and put together my soundtrack, man, and just started pushing, right? Straight from the jail cell. You know, my first business address was cell 204. Yeah, you know? So, in the midst of all of this, I get cracked with the phone, right? Everything grinds to a halt. I got to jump right back on. I get another phone. This time, I got more sophisticated and more disciplined.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
The criminal thinking kicked in, and I figured it out, how not to get caught. And they never caught me with a phone again, you know? So, little time goes by, year or two, a really close friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine, transferred from Lancaster, came through, my boy Puba, right? This is one of my childhood friends from the projects. This is the first time we've been together, and last time I saw him was 2003. This is already 2015, 16, somewhere around there. Long time. We had been talking over the years, but this is the first time we had been together. And I can't describe the feeling of seeing someone that you thought you was probably never going to see again. I had multiple life sentences. He had life without and multiple life sentences. This is somebody I used to share Jack in the Box apple pies with. McDonald's apple pies with, cheesecakes and hamburgers from Pam's, and, you know, this is my guy, you know, all the way down to the street shit. And so, initially, I wasn't going to sell up with him, because remember, at this time, I've been a Muslim.
Did you guys see the clip of Joe Biden eating fried chicken with the black family?
So tell me about you guys. What you doing these days?
Why don't you share about your passion in sports?
I'm playing AAU basketball right now.
Are you really? Are you guard?
Yes, sir.
Now, what grade are you in?
7th grade.
7th grade.
Right now I'm just doing basketball, playing guard on the JV team for my school.
You know how much this guy loves you. You just feel it, can't you?
Yes, exactly.
Your dad jumped in front of a bullet for you. By the way, we dads are hard to raise. Once you're a teenager, we're hard to raise. So you gotta be patient with us, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
This is one of the most cringiest things I've ever seen. Even more cringy than Hillary Clinton saying her favorite condiment is hot sauce when she was on the Breakfast Club a few years back.
So what's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, Swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I
yes.
just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people again.
Okay. Is it working?
Really, nigga?
Good old Democrats pandering to black people for votes. Never gets old. Could you imagine if Donald Trump sat down with a black family and started eating fried chicken while talking about basketball? How do you think that would go over with the masses? But for some reason, when it comes to the Democrats, black people allow them to openly mock us by eating fried chicken and saying they love hot sauce. Oh, and let's talk a little basketball. What are you? Point guard?
Come on, man.
By the way, Biden is 943 years old. Why is he eating fried foods? Gotta get that black vote, Biden. Even if it clogs up your arteries.
Come on, man.
It's crazy to me that black people are allowing this open mockery. But we are the same people that still voted for this guy after he said this.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
And this.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
And this.
And by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community.
Really, nigga?
Come on, man.
But you know what? Come November, the majority of us will still vote for this guy. Because we're slaves and we don't know any better. And they'll keep doing this to us as long as we keep allowing it.
So tell me about you guys. What you doing these days?
Why don't you share about your passion in sports?
I'm playing AAU basketball right now.
Are you really? Are you guard?
Yes, sir.
Now, what grade are you in?
7th grade.
7th grade.
Right now I'm just doing basketball, playing guard on the JV team for my school.
How about in school? How y'all doing in school? You should tell the president about the school.
Favorite thing about it is the business academy I'm in. You get to like travel, so we've been to like NC State, Wake Tech, and
You're kidding me.
yeah, we went to this small dry cleaning business, and it's cool. It's a great experience.
I'm impressed. Is that a new program at the school?
Yes, sir, it is. It just started just a couple of years ago.
You know how much this guy loves you. You just feel it, can't you?
Yes, exactly.
Your dad jumped in front of a bullet for you. By the way, we dads are hard to raise. Once you're a teenager, we're hard to raise. So you gotta be patient with us, you know what I mean?
Comment down below. Am I tripping? Let me know. I'm open to criticism. But I feel like this would be a totally different situation if Donald Trump were sitting in that chair eating fried chicken. Please do comment down below and make sure you smash that like button before you head out. Yep, hit that like button. It's right there. Just boom, smash it with that finger of yours. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please do hit that subscribe button. It's election season, baby, and I'm going hard on these candidates because we can't keep letting them mock us like this.